I leave, I call Mu'tasim. I was like, Mu'tasim, but I thought like in Islam we don't believe in saints. And he's like, and who are you to decide that God didn't make that man one of the good ones?
Welcome to another episode of the Olive Roots podcast. I'm your host, Chosi Ayub. Today we have a very interesting person. He's an artist, a business, and a non-profit leader. He's also a global citizen. I want you to welcome Omar Kurdi. Omar,
What's going on?
how you doing, brother?
I'm good, Habibi. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you for joining us today. I know it's probably a cold day today, isn't it?
When you live in Cleveland, Ohio, all you need to expect is cold. So alhamdulillah, but we're better off than so many other people around the world. So can't
Amen,
complain.
amen. Well, Omar, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you,
Um,
Habibi.
let's see, the first portion of the episode, I would like you to share with the audience your identity. Pretty much, where were you raised? How were you raised? Where did you grow up? Did you move around? So give me all that identity, and then we can move from there to what you did in school. What are you doing today? So let's just start with that section first.
Absolutely. So I like to start off that I am the real Saint Levant. With all due respect to Marwan, I love Marwan, and I've been a follower. I am a mix. I'm a Levantine mix. My father is half Kurdish and half Lebanese. So my paternal grandfather is Kurdish from Diyarbakir in Turkey. His family migrated to Syria. So my grandfather was born in Syria. My grandmother is Lebanese Shi'iyya from southern Lebanon. So my dad is Sushi, half and half. My dad was born in Jordan. Fun fact, I just learned this. My parents separated, so I wasn't really connected with my dad's family that much, but I recently reconnected with my dad's sister. And she told me, I actually found out that my grandfather, paternal grandfather, met my paternal grandmother in Gaza, got married in Gaza, lived in Gaza for 4 months, and then moved to Jerusalem, where they lived in Jerusalem. My oldest two aunts were born in Jerusalem. And then in 1948, they were displaced, and then they moved to Jordan. My father was born in Jordan. And on my mom's side, my mom is half Jordanian, half Palestinian. My grandfather is from Ajloun, northern Jordan, and my grandmother is from Safad, and she was also forcibly displaced in 1948. Went to Syria, lived in Syria for a couple of years, then moved to Jordan. Usually, the easy answer I've always given is that I'm Jordanian American, and I am. I hold both citizenships. I grew up in Jordan. Prior to growing up in Jordan, I lived in Muscat, Oman, a country south of UAE. I was born in San Francisco, December 20, 1990, during the Gulf War. When my mom had to go back to Oman, she was on a flight with Yasser Arafat, fun fact, from Amsterdam to Khartoum, Sudan. So, yeah, it was a crazy flight because she had to go around because of the war. And that's why she says that I love flying so much, because I was 3 months and I was on like four different flights as a 3 month old. So yeah, I grew up in Muscat, Oman till 1999. 1999 to 2007, I was in Amman, Jordan. And then 2007, I came to Cleveland, Ohio. I did my last semester of high school and went to college here. And here I am with you today.
Wow, what a story and what a blend. Okay, so you grew up in Oman,
Mm-hmm.
then went to Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
then ended up in the US and Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's the transition. Okay, how much do you remember of Oman? How much do you remember of Jordan? And how is that in comparison with you being in Ohio, your overall experience?
Very good question. I was just talking about Oman the other day. And my friend was like, it's shocking how much you remember and you hold so much of Oman with you. And I mean, you left it when you were 8.5. Oman was very transformational. It's a very unique country. It's very much different than the other countries in the Gulf region. Very neutral. The people are the sweetest, they're the nicest, even from a faith aspect, and we can talk more about that. They're Abadiyin, so they're neither Sunni or Shi'i Muslim. So it was very open, very respectful. That's also where I discovered my love for the art. That's where I joined like school performances. That's where I met my first friends. That's where I learned proper Arabic. That's where I my first exposure to the first exposure that I remember to a body of water. Um, well, someone's gonna get mad at me now. The Arab Sea, for some people, it's the Persian Gulf, Arab Gulf, whatever. I don't care. It's a body of water that God created, and we get to enjoy. And it it's still stuck with me because that's also where I had a happy childhood before my parents separated. So whenever I want to go back to like a time when I had what you would call a tight family, Oman is that. Amman, my dad's contract in Oman was finishing up. So as he was finishing it up, he moved us to Amman. And Amman is Amman basically does take, in my opinion, maybe 40% of who I am. That's choir, my friends, my school. I was privileged to be in a very good school in Amman. So I remember even coming to high school here. Like I was sitting in class. I'm like, even in college here, I was like, bro, like I learned all of this in 10th grade. And Amman is I just came back from Amman too, and that was the first. And I spent 24 days in Amman, and I cried coming back. That was the first time that I cried coming back. Part because I don't even know what kind of country we live in here in the US, and we'll talk more about that. But the other part is Amman is where I discovered myself. Amman is where I've made my lifelong friends that I still talk to today. Amman is where I had my first big performance in front of people as an artist. Amman is where I had my grandparents. Amman is where I would walk in the street and people are already on the same page with me. And I know it's very metaphoric because, like, yeah, we all have our agreements and disagreements, but even in terms of what's going on in Palestine or Arab issues and global issues, there's that comfort when you walk in the street and you don't have to explain yourself to someone. I'm like, I meet you in the street and I'm like, yeah, we both agree that what's happening in Palestine is a genocide, for example. That's something that like I don't get here. Sometimes you get tired of having to explain yourself. Sometimes you get tired of having to educate, even though we have that responsibility, but it's tiring. It's exhausting, mentally exhausting. So Amman is that for me. The US, the US is what molded me to what I am. The US is what taught me one of the most important lessons, one, and it's a very personal lesson that divorce is okay. I was very ashamed of my parents' divorce. I actually hid it for 4 years from my friends. And I came here and I'm like, oh my God, people are divorcing left and right. And I'm like, okay, so like this is a normal thing. The US also taught me to get out of um, victim mode, taught me how to persevere. It's very challenging when you have to prove yourself. I mean, you have that layer of you have to prove yourself to your family, then prove to yourself to your friends. But in the US, I just felt like I have to prove myself to everyone. I'm Arab, I'm Muslim. I don't have a regular name. I don't have a regular look, and for the most part, during college and high school, as an outsider, I was like I needed to prove to everyone around me that like I am something and I will do something. I'm a son of immigrant parents, and I will make my way and I will pave this path for me and for whoever needs help with paving their own path.
Wow, man. So pretty much each country prepared you for something else in a way, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't know much about Oman, so thanks for sharing that with me
Hmm.
too, because you taught me something I didn't know. And I've been to Amman. It's a beautiful place. It's very similar to
Hmm.
Palestine, that portion, people, coexisting, and
Hmm.
the food and the clothes and the people
Hmm.
and the loudness of the people and all that. And then you come to the US, which also has very special things as well. Obviously,
Hmm.
there's good and bad everywhere.
100%.
It shapes you to the man that you are today. What a beautiful story. So, okay, so that's kind of like your journey growing up and coming to the US.
Hmm.
So now I would like you to share a little bit about what you do as the artistry. How did that start? You said, I think it started in Oman, then it continued in Amman,
Hmm.
or maybe I misunderstood.
No, you're right.
And then from there, tell me, what did you start doing? How did it grow? And where are you today? Because I went to your Instagram and I listened to your new song, I Am Palestinian, which you'll get to that as well as you're talking
Hmm.
about the artistry. But tell me about being an artist and how did you become one?
Absolutely. I remember I was 5 or 6 years old in Oman, and music is just part of our lives. And my mom enjoyed listening to a lot of classical music, and I guess I was just singing along to stuff. And both my parents figured that I might have a decent voice at that time, so they brought a music teacher to the house in Oman. So I started taking vocal lessons, and then in school in Oman, I got into the theater, and I performed in two major shows in my school. And the current Sultan of Oman actually at that time attended the shows that I performed. And I don't have it with me, but when I was 6, I recorded a whole cassette tape for the Omani police holiday, National Police Day, whatever it's called. So that was my first studio experience, a 6 year old. I remember performing in front of the Sultan. I don't have, I wish I had that, but I've lived in 19 different homes and I'm only 34. So a lot of my stuff is everywhere or nowhere. But I mean, it's still here. So yeah, that's where I started discovering my artistry, my love for acting, my love for music. One of my favorite memories of Oman is we in '98 we performed Zahrat al Mada'in for Fairuz. That was it was actually covered by like Omani media at that time. That was a very big deal. In Amman, I started like professionally learning. My parents put me in like the an official music school, and I did it for 3 years. That's where I've had my first sort of like recital, and that's where I met some musicians and started exploring more the kind of music that I like, or the like what melodies do I enjoy. And Kulthum was the first artist that I officially learned to sing for. يعني أنا like كلثوم وأنا يعني like, so we can see like right here. Hey, كلثوم obviously here and I'm here. But no, um, it that example is why art is beautiful, because like for some people like they want to tell you that like you have to be at a certain level to. I'm like, no, we're all artists. Like that's the beauty of art. Like art is not like there's no borders, like there's no box for what art is. Like we're doing art right now during this podcast. Like the tree, but the olive tree behind you is a work of art. God created it. The whole world we live in is a work of art. God is an artist. So who are we to like define who I am as an artist? And I think this is something that I got to realize like today, and we'll talk, I'm sure we're going to talk about that. And I had to slow down on the art eventually as school got harder. And then a big clash happened in my life, which was my parents' divorce. My dream was to go to school in Lebanon, AUB, American University of Beirut, and to pursue music in Lebanon. But my dad had an open heart surgery in 2007. I hadn't seen him in 4 years. My mom and I came to the US to check on him, and then they had a little convention that I wasn't in. And they come out of the room and they were like, "Oh, you're moving to America." And at that time I felt like my world was crashing. Like everything I've been working for, like everything academically, I need to get into AUB. I want to get into Lebanon. I want to do music. All of that just crashed down, and I'm like, here I am. I'm gonna move to the US. I'm no longer gonna pursue art. I'm gonna live with a father that I barely knew and a stepmom who I've never met and a stepbrother who's autistic who I've never met. But it turned out to be a gift somehow, despite the fact that the art piece got ignored for a lot of years because my father would not accept his firstborn to be an entertainer. He didn't see financial security in it. Obviously, there's a big piece of shame, عيب, as we say in Arabic, and then like كيف ابني الكبير دي يطلع فنان, like how come, no way, like شو بده يحكوا الناس علينا, what are people gonna say, etc. And the turning point in all of that is like before the turning point, I did small performances here and there. I would hide it from my dad. Like I little gigs for fun. But as my relationship evolved with my dad, he got diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis in 2016. That's when I had to let go of my pride. I'm like, you know what? Like, there's no cure to this disease. I can't live like this. Like, I need to figure out a way to communicate with this man. And when he passed, a month after he passed, the biggest gift happened, which was launching Masrah Cleveland Arabi, which is Ohio's first Arabic theater company that I helped co-found. And the launching of that theater, ironically, was like 31 days after my dad passed. And I'll never forget, I questioned whether I should go to the launch event or not because it was like, what are people going to say? This guy's dad just passed away a month ago and he's at a launch event for a theater. But I wrote, in my opinion, one of my favorite, best poems ever. And I was like, I'm just going to dedicate it to my dad. And it provided me with such a healing journey. And since then, I've been just rediscovering myself as an artist with the purpose of that art, whether it's the layers of grief, whether it's the layers of love, whether it's the layers of longing, whether it's the layers of resistance, the perseverance of who I am and what I represent, and the people who are like me, who have similar struggles, who carry generational traumas, who are products of displacement. Because when I think of myself, I call myself a product of displacement, and my everything I do, whether it's career, whether it's business, whether it is the art, is defined by the generational traumas that I carry with me.
Wow, my condolences, man. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Habibi.
That's hard, man. You know, losing someone, and we're all gonna have to deal with that. So,
Hmm.
but I mean, they say God, He gives, He takes, and He gives, and He
Hmm.
gives, and He takes. So it's kind of like we always belong to Him. So He takes, then He gave you something else, and that might be a gift from your God and from your dad. You know.
Hmm.
So that's beautiful that you went ahead and you're like, okay, if I go, they're gonna be like, oh, he doesn't care about his dad. Look at him just having a good time. But no, that's a gift from God, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
So it's good that you went ahead, pursued it to get you where you are today. And talking about how design and God, I mean, greatest of designers. That's what I call God,
Hmm.
God, greatest of designers. I mean, he's the
Hmm.
best artist in everything you look at, the sky, the colors, the animals, us humans, the trees, and everything else. And
Hmm.
so it's beautiful. So let's
100%.
transition. That will be a good transition to your faith journey.
Hmm.
How did you grow up spiritually? Which faith did you practice?
Hmm.
Did you dabble between different faiths? Did you question a certain faith? And where are you today with all that?
Very good question. So I grew up Muslim, obviously Sunni Muslim. Today I just prefer the word either Muslim or believer. My parents were practicing Muslims. My grandparents were practicing Muslims. So I mean, obviously, the occasional let's go to Friday prayer. In school, we had to take obviously the religion class, but I wouldn't say I questioned my actual faith as much as I questioned why I can't embrace more than one. Because I feel like since I was a child, I just found beauty in faith itself and the idea of faith. Like how do we hold on to something that sometimes is not tangible, yet can provide so much peace? And growing up in Amman, more than Oman, because in Amman I started like sort of this discovering the whole idea of like I am Muslim, because I started seeing my Christian friends would leave class to go to their Christian religion class, and then like we stay. I was like, why is my friend going to another room? Because it didn't make sense. Because you know what, I was the Muslim who had all these solos in the Christmas recitals. Like I was the Muslim that like had the leading part in every Christmas play, and I enjoyed Christmas. We would visit each other. My friends and I would visit each other during the holidays. My mom's best friend growing up was Christian, and we slept over each other's homes. Like that didn't like the whole idea of I have, despite the fact that would go to different rooms during religion class, but the whole idea of that we have a different faith didn't like get stuck in my brain until I came to the US. I feel like in Jordan, at least the bubble that I was in, I embodied and I lived the whole coexistence experience. You drive and you see the church and you see the mosque, and there's not much different. There's a lot of my friends I didn't even realize they were Christian until later. Like the, we don't start the conversation with like what religion do you practice? Like khalas, like you wear a cross, hilu, okay, you wear the hijab adi. There I've met a lot of Christian women in Jordan that wore the hijab too, or they would cover their head. They're modest. They're sometimes even more conservative than Muslim people that I know. Um, when I came to the US, I started experiencing that differential treatment of Muslim, Christian. I know for a lot of the people in the US, especially Muslims after 9/11, that was a big turning point for them. But I was in the Middle East during that time. So I I'm privileged that I didn't go through that the whole racial profiling, racism, etc. That like Christians did go through too, because you know what, when they want to be racist and they want to profile you, they don't even care about the religion you practice. It's the name, the color, the race. I still like Muslim. I'm did I pray every day? Not really. Did I fast Ramadan sometimes? It wasn't that, but I just knew that I had a God and I loved God, and I like and I just trusted the process. I There was one time when I was young, I had a dream of some green figure that was walking up the hill to come to our house. And when I asked who's this person in the dream, they said it's Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph of Islam that was coming to visit. Since then, someone told me, "Oh, Allah, you see things." So like I wouldn't call it a sixth sense, but like I mean I've had visions, I dreams, things would happen. I wouldn't share too much of it because I didn't want to freak people out. Um because some people won't enjoy this kind of conversation, like, oh, I think this person's gonna die soon. No one wants to hear that. So I held on a lot of these things to me because like I was having a hard time understanding what all of that meant. In 20 in 2018, randomly I would, and of course I love art, I love music, so my Instagram explore page is just all um agani, music, and then randomly I would start getting a picture of the Kaaba in Mecca, and I'm like, how do how did I just transition from Nancy Ajram to Mecca? Like it doesn't make sense. I'm like,
What a transition.
yeah, I was like, who's messing with the system? Like who's handling the algorithm right now? Like this is not normal. So I call one of my really good friends. He's half Egyptian, half Saudi Arabian, Mu'tasim, and he's we met in college, and he's been my spiritual mentor. And I'm like, Mu'tasim, I think I need to come to Mecca. I'm like, literally, I'm going from Busil Wawa, Yatabtab, and then it's like, Allahu Akbar. I was like, I don't know what it means, but I think I need to come to Mecca. And he's like, well, pray on it. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. I was like, okay. So like, I prayed, inshallah, if it's meant to be. And then I went up to my dad. Um, that was around February 2018. So 4 months before my dad passed away. I was like, Baba, بدي أروح على العمرة. I want to go do Umrah. I was like, you? Umrah? Like, you don't pray, you don't fast. So, like, I don't even know if you know God. Or like, well, stay at work. You don't have to go. We work in a family business. We have an vocational training center for adults with disabilities. So that's what I do during the day. It's like, no, stay at work. You don't need to go. I called my friend. I was like, Mu'tasim, Baba doesn't want me to go. He's like, just pray. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. 2 hours later, my dad calls me. And he was like, Omar, inta, who's going to do your visa for you? I was like, I found this office. It's going to be like $400. And he was like, no, no, no. I know someone in Chicago who'll do it for 200. I was like, so like, can I go? And he's like, yeah, khalas, go. So that was the first, I was like, oh my God. And then at that time, I needed to get a meningitis shot to go to Saudi Arabia. So I go to a minute clinic at CVS, and I was like, I need meningitis. She's like, do you have insurance? I was like, no, my insurance expired last month. I couldn't at that time. My dad didn't pay me much. You know how Arab parents are. I'm like, Habibi, work, 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 khalas, until you'll get. So I canceled my insurance. And she was like, well, you know what? Let me run your insurance card. She ran it, and it took it. I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. Like, I just saved $160 too. And then my dream at that time was to fly business class. Tell me why my first trip to Mecca, to Saudi Arabia, is the trip that I get upgraded to business class. And on the upper deck of my favorite airplane of all times, I'm a huge aviation geek. The 747. So, like, not only am I on the Queen of the Skies, I'm sitting on the upper deck and in business class, going on this like unknown spiritual journey, no expectations. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. And yeah, I ended up in Saudi Arabia in March of 2018. And that Umrah experience was so unique. There was so much going on in Mecca, and for us, like, we believe it's like center of gravity. Like, you feel that heaviness. Like, like when I first saw the Kaaba, I was like, it just felt unreal. And I remember after we finished the 7 rounds, we're supposed to do two prayers. So as I'm kneeling, I had such a hard time lifting my head off the ground, because like it just felt like I was just being pulled. It kind of scary in a sense. What was different in that experience was Medina and Medina Munawwara. So that's where Prophet Muhammad is buried. There, I just felt a different kind of peace. Like, in a sense, I was like, no wonder the Prophet chose to leave Mecca and go live there, and finish the message from there and die there, and he's buried there. You feel that peace. It's just quieter, it's calmer. And I've had some like crazy divine experiences while I was there. And I come back to the US, I'm on my prayers, I'm like learning, I'm reading. My dad got in his prayers, and a few months later, my dad passed away June 12th, 2018. He died during Ramadan, and he died on the night of the 27th, which what we call Laylatul Qadr, Night of Power, which is the holiest night of Islam. So I've always called that Umrah, that first journey, my dad's journey through me, not mine, as a Muslim, like, because it kind of brought him into a better place as a Muslim. And after his passing, I just drifted. I was mad. I was like, I did everything you wanted me to do. I went to Mecca. I was praying. I That was the first Ramadan I fasted. I didn't miss a prayer. Why? Like, but my dad, like, and my dad died 6 hours before his lung transplant. So, like, I'm getting chills just thinking, like, where we went home, like, khalas, like, we found the donor, like, next morning surgery, my dad's life is going to be saved. And then 2:55 a.m. I get the call, your dad's heart stopped. I was like, I rushed to the hospital, and I didn't even have like time to grieve. Like, it was I was trying to set up because for us Muslims we have to bury right away. I'm like, I've never buried someone close to me. And 4 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I need to bury this man, but also there's payroll. I was in the office in the morning. My employees' checks had my tears, because life, life goes on, and it's not their fault that my dad passed away. Like, it's not on you or like anyone like that. Like, it's my, like, it's my thing. And there's a lot of anger and a lot of um what's the point? Like, why? Like, why? Like, I prayed, and I did everything you wanted me to do. And yet you've taken him 6 hours before his lung transplant. But Mu'tasim, my friend, helped me throughout that journey of just acceptance. And I read the book that brought everything back into perspective. It's called The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. It's a novel, but it has some historical context about the relationship of between Rumi, Jalaluddin Rumi, the poet, and his teacher Shams Tabrizi. A lot of people think that Rumi's poetry is like romantic poetry between two lovers, but his poetry is for the love of the divine, the creator. And I remember when I finished that book, I froze in my seat for 15 minutes, and I saw a figure in the corner of my bedroom, figure wearing all black. The same figure that I saw in the dream while I was in Medina during Umrah. But the black figure in Medina was chasing me. I got scared. This figure wearing a black coat, everything, was just standing in my corner, so comforting. So that's when I called Mu'tasim and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to learn more. Like, talk to me. And he taught me that the root of faith is love. We focus so much on the technicalities of things. And yes, we're required to pray and to fast and to do that. And we should, it's in the scripture. But it's what we're missing is love. And I realized that God has loved me the whole time, and I was just questioning God's love, or what it meant, um or why does God love me? Like, I'm a sinner, like, I'm doing all these things, like, I drink, I go out, I do this. I'm like, why am I worthy of God's love? And then Mu'tasim the whole time was like, if someone gives you a gift, do you question the gift? I was like, no. I was like, exactly same thing. Stop questioning it. Just embrace it. Embrace it. And that's when I adopted the term believer, because God, it created so much beauty in my faith and all the different faiths and even the no faiths. So who am I to question? Who am I to question you as a Christian on what's beautiful in your faith? And I was like, you know what? If there's something beautiful in your faith, I'm gonna believe it too. And that was highlighted big time in my experience when I went to Lebanon in 2022, and I went to visit Mar Sherbel, Saint Sherbel, who is a Maronite Catholic saint. And I remember it was so hot. It was summer, like so hot. I was like sweating like crazy. And I'm sitting in the church, And I was like, I'm gonna test this guy. And I'm sitting there and I was like, yeah, like in Arabic, I was like, يا مرشربل إذا سمعني امسح العرق عن وجهي. I was like, مرشربل, if you can hear me, just wipe the sweat off my face. When I tell you that my face dried up and there was a cold breeze, no one will believe me, but it was crazy. My hand got stuck together. I just couldn't even separate them apart. I leave, I call Mu'tasim. I was like, Mu'tasim, but I thought like in Islam we don't believe in saints. And he's like, and who are you to decide that God didn't make that man one of the good ones? I was like, I'm nobody. He was like, exactly. Don't question it. And I'm a proud Muslim, but the term Islam is to submit. So I'm in a state of submission to whatever God brings my way. And I went to another Umrah in 2023. That one, I went to Medina, sorry. I went to Medina in February 2023. I didn't go to Mecca. Mecca scared me. I was like, no, there's no peace there. I'm not going to go. I went to Medina. And I remember the green dome is where the Prophet is buried under. And I was standing across from it. And I felt something just pulling me towards it. And in my ears, there's a voice ringing telling me, like, don't be late, I will miss you. Don't be late, I will miss you. And I just started bawling. Mu'tasim comes and he smirks. And when I tell you Mu'tasim smirks, I'm like, oh my God, something, this means something. This is something new I'm gonna learn. And I was like, what now? He was like, follow me. So I go from this spot to like somewhere here, and I'm sitting, and he's like, do you know where we are? I was like, no. He was like, we're at his feet. So, he was buried this way. I was like, do you know where you were? I was like, no. It was like you were exactly facing him. So in Islam, we bury and then we turn the head to the right. And then I just started bawling again. I was like, I actually talked to the Prophet. As we leave Medina, I just bawl my eyes out. Didn't want to leave. I felt like I left a piece of my heart there. Come back to the US still, I'm struggling. I'm like, just want to be in Medina. For me, everything about my faith was stuck in one place. Like I felt like in order to be a good faithful person, like feeling all these good feelings, I have to be there. And then in the summer I challenged myself. I was like, no, you know what, I'm gonna rent a cabin in the woods. I'm gonna go by myself. I'm just gonna let things happen. And I did. And I drove to the woods 2 hours south of Cleveland. I go, I get my hiking gear. I'm not a hiker, but I went shopping for hiking gear. Like you think, and then I've been an experienced hiker. I looked like one. Anyway, I'm sitting, I find this like stream of water. I sit under a tree and it's dark. Like I don't see the sun. I close my eyes and there's bright light. It, I could see bright light. I open my eyes. I'm like, it's dark. I close my eyes again. It's bright. And I just start crying. I was like, I felt God with me in that moment. And then I just sat there. I'm watching the water move. The fish in the water move the same way. The little branches move the same way. I look up, the clouds are moving the same way. And I'm like, life is just happening the way God wants it to happen. So in that moment, I just submitted again. 3 weeks after that, I get a dream of my nephew in Amman. I'm like, Khalo, I miss you. I booked Amman, no intention to go to Saudi Arabia. Mu'tasim calls me. He was like, why don't you come? I was like, okay, I'll come for a night. He was like, no, no, no. Sunnah, like basically the Prophet said, if you come visit, you need to spend 3 nights. I book for 3 nights. And one night I have a dream in his apartment of him introducing me to his mentor. I wake up, I was like, Mu'tasim, you took me to meet the Sheikh. He was like, well, I didn't want to tell you until I got confirmation, but he did agree to meet you, but we have to leave Medina and go to Jeddah. And I was like, oh my God. But do you want to do Umrah? Do you want to go to Mecca? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do it. We go to the train station. I missed the train to Mecca 3 times while I was in the train station. I'm literally there, but something would happen and I won't board the train. And then Mu'tasim comes to me and he's like, fix your intention. Something is wrong with your intentions. Go. I sat with myself for an hour, just like zoned out. And then I booked the train ticket for the fourth time. We did go. And that time in Mecca, I lost Mu'tasim in the crowd. I did the whole thing by myself. And it is, and like subhanallah, it was meant to happen that way. It was so beautiful. I go meet his mentor, etc. I just came back from Saudi Arabia last month. I did my third visit. This time I did it with Mu'tasim together, but I didn't feel like he was with me. Like actually, I had to ask him what round we were. Like I cracked a joke. I was like, if I didn't ask you, I would probably still be there just floating. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, especially where I am today with my faith. I'm the openness that I feel that God has given me to embrace the beauty of Islam, to embrace the beauty of Judaism, to embrace the beauty of Christianity, to embody what Jesus taught, what Moses, what Muhammad, what every prophet and no prophet, the humans, like we're not. I'm not a messenger of God. You're not a messenger of God by the scripture, but we are at the same time. I have a duty to embody God's love and give it out to the world. So I told you I could talk about this forever. I I feel like there's a connection here and there that no one might understand, but it's not exclusive to me too. Yani, I'm not special. We could all have that too. What the only difference is that I learned how to open my heart to it. I learned how to just accept it without questioning it. I learned that I just needed to submit. I needed to just allow life to happen. And when I think about it, with everything that happened in my life, there were days that we couldn't, like after my parents divorced, that we couldn't even afford the money to buy bread. But I never slept hungry. I never slept in the street. I always had a roof over my head. Like God really took care of me. And the smallest thing I could do is just to love Him back. And I treat my relationship with Him as a relationship between like two lovers. And lovers fight, lovers have disagreements, lovers break up and come back, and that's how it's been for me. I'm God is my lover, and we're on very good terms right now.
Wow, what a beautiful story, man. That's awesome that you're seeking and you found. Seek and you shall find. And yeah, man, God is everywhere. God is not just in a temple.
Mm-mm.
He's everywhere, man, and he's also in us. We are the
Mm-hmm.
temple,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It's interesting you said that you do all that and then your dad passes and you're like, "What the heck, God? Like I had an encounter with you.
Mm-hmm.
I went where you want me to go. I built a connection with you and we found the lungs and everything and boom, you just take my dad from me."
Mm-hmm.
So you feel like anger, abandoned. So
Mm-hmm.
trust me, I know that feeling too well because when I was 17, my oldest sister passed away in a car accident. Trish. And I was 17, she was 23. And that's when I walked away from God because I was so mad at him. And I was like, how can you take my best friend from me? Because we just connected, me and my oldest sister. So after that, I turned my back away from God, and who took me in? The enemy. And then eventually, I ended up in the U.S. and dating, drinking, smoking, doing all that. But I always believed in God, but I was not walking with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to dabble, went to a mosque, went to a church, and went to a Buddhist temple where you can find peace in a Buddhist temple too.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I was just searching. Something told me to start searching, and then I kind of like was like, it's not happening. And then 5 years ago, man, I had an encounter with Jesus in person, and I knew exactly who he was, and that's the first time I see him. It's just so much light, man. Like he wouldn't let me see his details. It was just so much light, but so much peace. And I was like, "What do you want?" He's like, "I never left you." And I was like, "Whoa!" And then bawling, crying, and then after that, I still had questions, and I was like, "Yeah, maybe I was seeing things."
mm,
I was in denial.
mm,
And then 3 years ago, God just broke me down and built me back up in faith, man. And I just built a relationship. I'm a follower of Christ, man. I'm a
mhm,
believer. I'm a follower of Christ. That's Christ is the definition of love, man.
mhm,
He walked, embodied love, man. He loved the
mhm,
children. He sat with prostitutes. Doesn't mean he loved their sin, but he loved them because they're
mhm,
human beings and they're worthy of life and redemption and salvation.
mhm,
So, in our faith, Jesus gives his life for us because he loves us so much. And 3 days, you're talking about 3 days, 3 days he rises up again, resurrected. And his biggest command is love and do not fear.
mhm,
Like in the Bible, there's so much of fear not, fear not, fear not. Like even
mhm,
when he was walking on water and walking to his disciples, his best friends, right? And there was a storm and they're like in the boat and then they see this figure walking on water. They peed their pants, man.
mhm,
They're like,
mhm,
"Oh, what's that?" And he's like, "Do not fear, it's
mhm,
me."
mhm,
And then he comes and in the middle of the storm he takes a nap. And then they're like, "What was that?" He's like, "You can only find peace in me, so
mhm,
put your trust in me because I can
mhm.
lead you to the Father." And it's just beautiful. But as a person following a faith, it's building a relationship with God, man. It's having a relationship
100%.
with God. It's not
100%.
just about doing all the rituals and the
Mm,
traditions and just reading just to read rather than reading to understand and connect. It's like
100%.
a lot of people just recite scripture.
100%.
I'm like, you're just reciting. Like, are you connecting?
100%.
It's kind of like as an actor, if you're just saying lines that you're just saying lines. But if you really connect and you're like, oh man, I can really feel this. This happened to me. Let me embody this. Now,
100%.
when you're saying your line, it's like a whole different thing. Same thing with
100%.
faith.
100%.
It's interesting that your journey was kind of like similar to mine, just in a different direction.
Mhm.
But I have a strong relationship with God, man, and Christ is all about love, man. And out of every character that ever existed in the Bible and in the holy books, to me, man, the message of Christ is love and peace, man. He's always
Absolutely.
he's always with the oppressed.
100%. And especially Christ came out of Palestine and a land that is in dire need of his love and peace. I mean, and that's why, and even in Islam, like we believe that the, the final days before Judgment Day, he's gonna come back and save us. He's whenever that time comes. And I think one thing that I just wish people just did a little more is just to have that openness. Like I'm not telling you to endorse. I'm not telling you to become a Christian or Christians to become Muslim. No, like that's your own journey. You find whatever fits you. But we need to just accept that we all have our own journeys, whether it's with Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever it is. It's we could all exist with that love because regardless of what we want to call God, Allah, whatever, we can't deny that there is something out there. We might call it different things. We might think it look a different thing. We might, but it's there. It's happening. I think us two and so many others are live examples of like these different experiences that we felt. There sometimes it like there were people with me sometimes with things that I've experienced. So like it is real. Like it's not, I'm not making it up. Like this stuff happens. People do go through these divine experiences. People do get healed. People do pray and feel things. I like these things do happen. I and the one thing I wanted to add, like, so later in my journey, what I learned is that black guy with the black figure historically is known to be Ali bin Abi Talib, the Prophet's first cousin. And there's a saying that the Prophet Muhammad used to say, which is like, Ali Bab al Medina. So Ali is the gate to Medina. So that figure that I was scared of was actually trying to welcome me into Medina, and came back after I read 40 Rules of Love, which just taught me to love everyone. Literally, it's Rumi teaching people at a bar that like a prostitute is worthy of love regardless of what she does for a job. And that figure came back and to basically just like allow me to like embrace Medina. And then I realized that like Medina's with me. Medina's with me, no, regardless where I am. Jerusalem's with me regardless where I am. Muhammad, Jesus, and Moses are with me regardless where I am. God's with me regardless where I am. Like it's not about the place, like you just said. It's not about the place. It's about who we are. I am the place. I am the vessel. I am the temple. I'm the church. I'm the mosque. I'm the synagogue. I'm the earth, I'm the tree, I'm the land, I'm the clouds, I'm the what. I could be whatever I want to be in the love of who created me.
Yeah, there's also a parable and a story in the Bible where there was a prostitute, and all these Jewish leaders back in the day, 2,000 years ago, wanted to stone her, right? Because of she's an adulteress, she's a prostitute, she's a
Mhm.
no good of a woman. And then Jesus stumbles there, and he's like, "Whoever is without sin, cast your first stone."
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
they just looked at each other and they put their stone down, the rock. And then
Mhm.
she came to him, she's like, "Why did you do that?" And he's like, "Because I love you."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Stop doing that. Now go repent." Because
Mhm.
it's all about repenting. You know, we all sin, man.
100%.
So you
And
have to repent.
I want to like say, because some people will watch this and be like, "What the hell you're talking about? Haram, whatever." One message, and we're not God's deputies on this earth, and I'm not here preaching. I'm not here telling anyone what to do. It's and it's so sad sometimes that the simplest message of embracing love could be taken in so many different ways about halal, haram, heaven, hell, etc. Like I don't know when heaven and hell is gonna come. I don't know when judgment day is, but I also don't want to live in a man-made hell here. And what I could do to make life better, at least for me and the people around me, is just to show love and embrace love. What I do at home within my own prison, whatever it is to me, I don't have the keys to heaven. Because I'll tell you one thing. If God gave the keys to heaven to man, the first man will go in there and lock the door, and all of us are going to be out. That's why we're blessed that we have a God, and it's we're not at the end we're not going to be judged by mankind at the end of time. So just embrace love and forget the whole technical stuff of halal and haram. And like you just said, we all sin. Habibi, talking behind people's back is a sin. Um, شو اسمه, ripping someone off in a deal is a sin. These are all sins. We're not better than each other, but I can love you and you can love me, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus commanded us to love your neighbor like he loves us. And
Hmm.
you're like, well, he loves us so much. Man, I have to love my neighbor. I can't even stand that guy. You know?
You can love from a distance.
Yeah, I love from a distance. As love is hard, especially when it's a person that is hard to love,
Yeah,
like a difficult human being, or a person who's oppressing you, or a person who doesn't like you to be successful. But God
that's
is
true.
like, love them, and I'm like, how? He's like, through me, I'll show
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
love them, just follow me. And you're like, okay, God, I'm gonna do my best.
No, I think that's a very good message, and especially with what's going on in Palestine.
Hmm.
I I don't wish the same turmoil that my people have gone through on the enemy. To me, there are innocent people on both sides, and they're followers of God too. And my message of love is that the only thing I could do is just amplify the message of my people, and get their word out, and then now exploring it through art. But it's hard. But yes, I we can love through God.
Hmm. Speaking of Palestine and everything going on in Gaza, what do you think, in your perspective, in your opinion, what do you think is the solution, since we're in season 77, episode 10, and people talk about one state solution, two state solution, get rid of the Palestinians, no, get rid of the Israelis. No, this is a place where everybody can coexist. Well, there's barely any Christians left because of the Zionist occupation. It should be a Muslim state. No, but there was Christians. Well, it should be a Christian. Well, there's Jews. Well, it should be Jewish. Well, there's Muslims and Christians. Like, what do you think is the perfect vision solution that you can see? Maybe it's not going to work perfectly, or maybe it's not going to come to
Yeah.
fruition, but what do you think?
So there's two answers. The realistic answer is that since I don't live in Palestine, I always remind myself that I don't have the right to speak on behalf of the people that did live through the occupation, and they deserve the right to determine that for themselves. So I cannot, as an Arab in the diaspora, I don't feel like I have the right to make that determination on their behalf, because so often we get lost in that chamber, in that echo chamber of making demands over here in the U.S., but we don't have a rocket and an airplane flying over us. So I'm always reminding myself of that. Now, the dream, if I'm allowed to dream, is literally a land for all. Like you cannot push the Jews out of there. You cannot push the Christians out of there. You cannot push the Muslims out of there. I'm sure there's atheists there too. There's people of other, like, it's historically this land just embraced everyone. And me as Umar today, regardless of my love for my faith and all the other faiths, I don't believe in theocracies. I don't believe in mixing governments with religions. And whether it's Muslim, whether it's Christian, whether it's Jewish, I don't believe in a democracy. No religion should be superior to another religion. Two states or one states, I don't know what the technicalities of that will be, but if when I think of Palestine, and that's why when I did my song and I said from the river to the sea, and I put a message, I'm like, that is not about erasure. To me, from the river to the sea is not about driving the Jews to the water. Absolutely not. For me, from the river to the sea is an act of restoration. Teta Allah yarhamha, when she used to talk to me about Palestine, she wasn't describing a land for Muslims only. Teta went to a Catholic school. Teta's khayata, her seamstress, was a Jewish woman with the name of Rachel, and that's the neighborhood she lived in. That's the Palestine I dream of. It's what Teta described to me. It's the Palestine that was stripped away from my Teta and so many other Tetas and Jiddos and Ammos and Khaltos that had to walk. My Teta had to walk carrying her brother, 2 year old brother, to Syria. Leaving that's the dream, that's the vision, a land that is open for all. And I think Palestine has the capacity to hold everyone regardless of their differences. We all belong to that land. A Muslim in Palestine today was probably a Christian at some point, and was probably a Jew at some point, and was probably something else before all of these religions came to place. So yeah, that's the dream. But in reality, To be honest, like you said, this is season 77, episode 10. I don't know how many more seasons we have before we see a real solution, but whatever solution, it needs to involve the people that live there. It needs to, and they need to be center stage. I was reading an article the other day that was talking about how Egypt wants things, but UAE and Saudi Arabia want things, but Turkey, and and literally there was no mention from a voice from Gaza, and that's a problem. Like we're not, we think we're doing the right thing, but the right thing is to give the people of Gaza center stage, and the people of the West Bank, the people of Palestine center stage to determine what the future is, without occupation, with justice, with accountability, with this ceasefire. I mean, I hope it like holds, but I'm also disgusted that like we're treating Netanyahu like he's a man of peace. We're doing that ceasefire. I'm like that guy was going on like a genocidal adventure for the past 2 years. The least he could do is that little ceasefire deal, but that doesn't get him away from accountability.
Yeah, no, I mean he's been on it since the '80s, man, with even
Mhm. Yeah.
Iraq, and he destroyed what we call today Middle East, even though it's supposed to be called West Asia.
Hmm.
It's the Middle East according to America.
Hmm.
But I think the main problem is that the two-state solution is not going to work. I'm not going to split my home with a rapist, right? So, okay, well, you have to get rid of the rapist. Well, some of us were born here, and we're not trying to rape nobody.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, so we have to coexist. I think, Palestine before 1948 was already colonized by the British.
That's true.
We've always been colonized, right?
100%.
There's a lot of people that walked in and out of that land
Mm,
since day one, since it was Canaan.
mm, mm,
And our blood is not 100% from that land because who is from one place?
100%.
So we are probably more than 50% from that land, and the rest maybe nearby locations, maybe Egypt, maybe Jordan, Syria, which is still the Levant,
Yep.
maybe Italy, the Roman Empire,
Hmm.
maybe Assyria, the Assyrian Empire, maybe some people have the Ottoman Empire, some Turkish
Hmm.
blood, maybe some people have I mean, we're mixed. All of us are.
100%.
But the problem is these people that are called Ashkenazi, who are not really the real Judeans, that came from Europe, adopted the religion of Judaism, and they are white with blonde hair and blue eyes. And then they come to our land and we look like this, and they say this was our land 3, 4, 5, 6,000 years ago. And it doesn't work like that. Like, are you gonna restructure the whole earth on who was there 1,000 or 2,000 years ago? It doesn't really work that way. So yeah, I mean, you have these people that claim that they're from the land a couple of thousands of years ago, and then they're allergic to the sun. They have the highest skin cancer rates in the world. They're allergic to olive trees, and they're claiming that this is their land, right? And I'm like, it's not your land. And a simple DNA test will prove that. Yet, it's illegal to do a DNA test over there. And I wonder why, right?
Mhm.
So, we can coexist, but if those group of people think they're more superior than everybody else, then you can't coexist with them. Then maybe
100%.
they should go back to where they came from. And if you want to coexist, you're welcome to stay, even though you're not from the land, but it's fine, you know? But
And I think I agree with you.
yeah, but I think the problem would be, let's say the apartheid goes away, the occupation goes away, which the resistance will go away, because that's how you get rid of the resistance.
Hmm.
You get rid of the apartheid and the occupation. So, okay, Gaza is not besieged, it's rebuilt. You're able to end the resistance and treat everybody equal. Well, that means one state solution, right? because you can be anywhere and you can live anywhere. So, okay, so what are you going to do about the remaining of the Gazans? Because you probably killed more than 500,000 people. So let's say there's 1.8 million left, um, that were kicked out of their homes in Yafa and Haifa a long time ago, because not everybody in Gaza is from Gaza.
100%.
Are you going to give them their homes back? Are you going to build other homes next to where they're I mean, it's not an easy solution.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So
No.
I don't understand when they talk about two-state solution. So how are you going to go from the West Bank to Gaza? You're going to build a highway? And yeah, and if I'm from Bethlehem and I want to go pray at the church in Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
that means I still have to wait in line. Still has to be a checkpoint. I still have to be treated like I'm coming from another country, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
when you cross the bridge from Jordan to Palestine. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where is that going to take us. Also, the ceasefire deal, I don't trust it, because the terms were the same terms that the resistance was giving to that Zionist state from day one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're going to get all their prisoners of war and say, "Well, we got what we needed. Let's keep killing people." I mean, I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You really don't. You really don't. And that's why, yeah, if you want me to be brutally honest with you, I don't think we're ever going to see a solution in our lifetime. Um, يعني, the scripture says that the final war is going to happen and Jesus is going to, like, so I also sometimes just say this to myself. I'm like, okay, we have to continue fighting and we have to continue advocating and whatever. But man, is that if it's in the Bible and it's in the Quran, I'm like, خلاص يعني, there will be a final war. Like this is like وبعدين يعني, like, but you also can't sit still. You can't sit still and watch people get brutally murdered and watch their homes be destroyed and watch like a group of people be ethnically cleansed. You can't. So it is very hard. It is very difficult. But like, if I'm brutally honest, I don't think we will see a solution in our lifetime. I think it's unfortunate, but when you're not in a position of power and there's so many people and governments with um power, it serves them that we remain in the status quo. It serves them that we have complicit governments all over, and it serves them that we have Arab countries that are not necessarily, if they're not strong militarily, they're strong financially, but they're not strong whatever. But they're these are all products of colonialism. These are products of hundreds of years of the world preparing us for where we are today. And today is not a product of yesterday. Today is not a product of October 7th. Today is not a product of even 1948. Um, Today is a product of hundreds of years of preparations for the takeover of this beautiful region that has been the cradle of civilizations for so many years. You think about it, you study it historically. As someone who, I believe, I'm native to that land, regardless of what my great 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 grandfather's religion was or specific ethnicity was. You're native to that land, I'm native to that land. Throughout history, there was always someone that wanted to take that land away. And we're just, like you said, season 77, probably season 7700 of someone trying to take that land away. And I don't know when is it going to end, unfortunately. Sometimes I think short term, I'm like, خلاص, like بديش اشوف them, like I don't want to see more blood anymore. Like, um let the killing stop and then we'll worry about. But like, ceasefire deal, they're still killing people in Gaza. Israel is still killing people in Gaza. So like, they're in violation of the ceasefire every single day since it was signed, which is why I don't trust it. um I'll have like 1% of extra trust if Netanyahu is removed out of government, yani, but like, again, the but some of this stuff is indoctrined in Israeli governance anyway, whether Netanyahu or someone else. But like, I'll be at like an extra 1% of peace if he's removed from government and goes to jail, as he deserves. But yeah, I don't know. It's too much to process.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, after all, the land belongs to God, right?
Yeah.
He created it. It belongs to him. There has been so much destruction.
Mm-hmm.
He let people into salvation into that land, and they messed up, in, biblically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what we do, we mess up.
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to coexist, and somebody came and messed it all up.
Mm-hmm.
And before us, probably somebody was trying to live in peace, and it got messed up. And I mean, it's a kind of like paints a story of the world, how people just want to take what doesn't belong to them. People want to lie and pretend they're somebody else. People want to change their last name. People want to adopt a religion and justify killing. And just because the biblical prophecy says that everything's going to end in that region, it doesn't mean I should be pushing God's hand to do that, which is what Zionist Christians are doing. They're saying, well, if we send all the so called Jews to that land and 2/3 of them get killed, that's when Jesus will come and a third of them will find Jesus and become Christians. And then we will have 1000th reign of Christ from Jerusalem. And it doesn't matter what happens to us Christians, because before all that happens, there's something called the rapture, where God is going to take us to another planet. And so we don't have to deal with all that. And I'm like, what sci-fi movie are you writing here?
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I never got into it.
Okay, so I mean, spoiler alert, but towards the end, Mad Queen kills everyone, and then she's the ruler of the kingdoms of ashes. And what you just said, I was like, "What, you want to rule like thousands like over the ashes?"
Yeah,
So,
it's like that Zionist state in America want to put like a resort over the graves of children in Gaza.
mm-hmm,
And I mean, resistance is going to continue in 20 years. These kids that survived are going to resist the occupier again, and I don't blame them, because that happened all around the world.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm,
the British, the Irish resisted the Brits. You have the Native Americans resisted the colonialism here from Europe,
mm-hmm,
and the Australians and the Africans and South Americans, and it just happened around the world. Even like
100%.
in the Holocaust, the Auschwitz camp was resisting the Nazis, and I'm like, so resistance is what you do when somebody's trying to come take over your place and kill your family. You try to
100%.
resist, you know.
And it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Like you said, these kids are gonna grow up. Like you cannot eliminate like, and I have my own political differences with the governance of Hamas, because that's separate from the actual resistance of fighting for your land. But you're gonna eliminate Hamas today. You're gonna get a Hamas 2.0, maybe with a different name the next morning. Like you've created so many orphans, and you don't think they're gonna grow up to avenge. And while I don't um شو اسمه enjoy violence ولا enjoy revenge ولا enjoy whatever, بس ما هو the world is real. Like انت اليوم you kill my father, what do you expect me to do? As if like I'm not gonna clap for you. I'm not gonna clap for you. So that's why the whole, oh, we're gonna eliminate Hamas. Like, no, like that's not like, you're not eliminating Hamas. You're just trying to eliminate a whole group of people, and that's what we're witnessing. There's ethnic cleansing of people that already have been uprooted 3 4 times, and yet now that's like, for some it's fifth or sixth time that like they don't even know where they're gonna go. And you don't kill the idea of resistance, and whether it's armed resistance, whether it's non-armed resistance, whether it's this actual podcast, this is a form of resistance. When a Palestinian shows up to a political meeting as a candidate or not, that's a form of resistance, because you don't even want me to exist. So when I show up in your face today, whether I'm an artist or a business leader, entrepreneur, dancer, cook, chef, doctor, engineer, one of the most successful people are Arabs and Palestinians. That's a form of resistance. So you cannot kill the idea of resistance, regardless of whatever form it is. So and the people will resist no matter where they are. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, our existence right now is resistance because
100%.
we're like the thorn in their throat.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's why like I enjoy مثلا I'm wearing tatriz.
Embroidery, yeah.
Yeah, embroidery, and I for me I am carrying a piece of that Palestinian culture with me because also visibility matters. I'm not going to hide that part of my identity. Yes, I carry a lot of identities with me, and you know what? I own them today. I own them with a lot of pride. I don't give a crap what people think. I'm Palestinian, or Jordanian, or Arabi, or Muslim, or Masihi, or Yahudi, whatever. I'm from that land. Whatever that land is going to give me, I'm going to receive it. You can't. You're not gonna box me in one thing. You're not gonna box me in the terrorist box. You're not gonna box me in the Arab box. You're not gonna box me in the Muslim box. No, I am from that land. You took that land away from my grandmother. You took that land away from so many other people's grandmothers. And there will come a day I might not be alive for it. I hope I'm alive for it. But there will come a day when we will go back. There will come a day that I will go and actually see where my grandmother lived. There will come a day where I will, inshallah, me and you are gonna go like have a meal in Jerusalem together where I will walk with you to the Aqsa and you will take me to the church over there. I don't know how to say it in English. كنيسة القيامة بس
Sepulchre Church, yeah.
yeah I'm a foreigner at the end of the day, a border as people will call some words I don't know how to spell pronounce, but yeah, inshallah
So
the
Allah,
day will
God's willing, man. I mean, I believe only when Jesus comes back, he can end the bloodshed and
I mean we
get
believe
rid of,
it.
yeah,
I believe it.
yeah, that's when he can get rid of the Antichrist. And I think that's where he's dwelling right now because he has to pretend that he is Christ and the devil pretends that he is God. And that's what that entity right now that is there pretending to be biblical Israel and it's not. And that is the problem. So tell my audience where they can find your music and your work. This way they can check it out. And I will also add it in the description under this
Absolutely.
video.
The easiest thing is I have like a personal website that links everything I've ever done in my life. It's omarkurdi.net. So omarkurdi.net. Also, my Instagram, it's Omar Kurdi Official. I'm on Spotify, I'm on YouTube, I'm on all over. My website has links to everything I've done politically, advocacy, music, which is also another journey of mine, which is just owning every aspect of my life, whether it's career, purpose, nonprofit, networking, empowering youth, working with adults with disabilities, doing music, theater, whatever. Omar just does it all, and I'm every day I'm learning how to bridge all of it together into the purpose of my existence, which is to worship, love, and spread that message of love through everything I do.
That's beautifully said, man. Well, Omar, it was a pleasure getting to know you and just talking about so many different things. It's been lovely,
Habibi,
man.
Habibi, same here. Thank you, Habibi. Thank you,
All right. God bless you, man. We'll be in touch. All right.
Habibi. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine, Habibi. See you later, bro. All right, guys. Omar Kurdi. Beautiful soul. I mean, you could tell. And this is what's missing in the world just conversations, regardless of differences, especially in faith. You can see somebody's else spiritual journey and you can share with them your journey. You can plant the seed, and sometimes you water it, sometimes it dies away, sometimes it just goes somewhere else. Until then, free Palestine, Christ is King, and I'll see you next time. Peace and love.